Hi everybody, it's Martin from Branco Customs here, and today I'm going to talk to you about my latest slip joint knife that I just finished making. So for those of you that don't know, a slip joint is basically a folding knife. This is the knife in question, which I just completed. And a slip joint is a UK legal folding knife. So that means that when the knife's opened, you don't have to do anything in order to close it. So there's no locking mechanism or anything. You can literally just push it open, push it closed, but it does have some resistance, so it's not just going to fold up on you and cut your fingers off. So this is the knife I've recently finished making for a client, and the design was inspired by a fixed blade knife that I made for the same client. He came to me and said, I'd like a folding version of this fixed blade that you made me. Go to town with it, let's see what you end up with. So this is a few pictures of the knife that we started with, and this is what we've ended up with. Here's a quick look at some of the bolsters and liner material that are made out of solid blocks of brass that I specially soldered together, which is a common way of doing it with such a traditional type of slip joint construction. Here I'm using a dial indicator gauge to double check that the back spring is going to be flush in all three positions. As you can see, when the knife's closed, half open and fully open, the pointer ends up at exactly the same place to within 1/1000th of an inch. Everything was looking good, so I went ahead and ground the blade, jeweled the insides of the liners and the back spring, and started to assemble the knife, hoping for no problems. But as luck would have it, I ran into a tiny little hiccup. The knife worked absolutely brilliantly 99% of the time. The only downside was that somewhere along the line I'd ground it so that the blade, when it was closed with a bit of gumption, could over travel and just kiss the back spring inside and obviously dull the tiny little edge on the blade that was contacting. Obviously this is no good, so I tried to remedy the problem by a couple of different ways. I shortened the grind on the blade up another sort of 1/2 millimeter, but unfortunately still with a little bit of extra enthusiasm, the blade could still be allowed to over travel, which meant only one thing. Basically my spring was slightly too weak, and as there's no way of rectifying this, it basically meant I had to take the entire knife apart, which is no mean feat considering it had all been pinned and peened together, which unfortunately, whilst taking it back apart to put a stronger spring in, I managed to damage the wood. So what turned into 1 week's of work ended up turning into 10 days of work in order to get this knife completely finished and spick and span. There's a very steep learning curve with making these slip joint knives, and I'd like to say a very quick thank you to Paul Masson, who is a UK custom knife maker who is at the absolute pinnacle of the craft. And he's been so kind with helping me out with my dumb questions all the time, which has helped me to expedite my learning curve to get to making knives of this sort of quality, where this is truly, I think, my 3rd slip joint knife. If you want to check his knives out, have a look on Instagram and Facebook, Paul Masson, and you'll be amazed and stunned at the quality of what he produces. So here's a quick look over the final knife and a quick rundown of the specifications. We've got a N690 cobalt steel blade with a acid etched patina on it. We got brass liners with dovetailed brass bolsters that have been soldered into place, and we've ended up with a stabilized walnut handle with also a nice mosaic pin which echoes the design of the original knife for this client. Thank you everybody for watching, and again, as ever, if you happen to want a custom knife for yourself, please drop me a line, or even if you want to buy one as a special present for someone in your life, let me know and we'll see if we can work something out. Thank you.